our distinguished guests have arrived. I will request our convener, CA Anup Bankaji, and Deputy Convener, CA Vikas Bankaji, to please escort our chief guest, His Lordship, Justice Shekhar B. Saraf, Judge, Calcutta High Court, and guest of honor, Shri Anil Kumar Gupta ji, IRS, Chief Commissioner of CGST and CX, to please join us on the dais. Please welcome them with a bigger round of applause. Thank you. I will request all of you to please rise for the national anthem and the ICAI motto song.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
We'll continue for the IC.
तदेव शुक्रं तदेव शुक्रदब्रह्मा तदब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते. य एष सुप्तेषु जागृति य एष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्मिमाणः निर्मिमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तदेव शुक्रदब्रह्मा तदब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते. तस्मिन् लोकः शतः सर्वे तदूनाद्यति कश्चनाद्यति कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता.
Thank you. Apologize for the technical delays. Lighting a ceremonial lamp before the start of a function holds symbolic and cultural importance in our tradition. The lamp represents the presence of knowledge, wisdom, and positivity. It is believed to dispel darkness and ignorance, symbolizing the pursuit of enlightenment and the removal of obstacles. The act of lighting the lamp signifies the invocation of divine blessings and the auspicious blessing of an event. For this, we request our Honorable Chief Guest, His Lordship, to please light the inaugural lamp. And I request all the dignitaries on the dais and speakers of our today's conclave, Jatin sir, PD sir, to please come up, Ashish Chandan sir, to light the inaugural lamp. I take this pleasure to introduce our chief guest, Honorable Justice Shekhar B. Saraf, Judge, Calcutta High Court. Sir's profile will be displayed on the LED screen. His Lordship graduated from the National Law School of India University, NLSUI, Bangalore in 1996, and has had the opportunity to have undertaken a placement program with Mr. Dipankar Gupta, the Solicitor General of India, New Delhi. His Lordship started his career by dealing in corporate law and indirect taxation matters. In January 1998, my Lord joined the chambers of Mr. R.N. Bajoria, Senior Advocate at the Calcutta High Court, dealing in taxation matters. From 2004 onwards, my Lord appeared as a counsel for the Union of India at the Calcutta High Court in relation to customs, excise, and company law matters. From July 2010 onwards, my Lord appeared as a senior counsel for the Government of India in relation to income tax matters, and thereafter appeared as a senior standing counsel in relation to central excise, customs, and service tax matters. My Lord was elevated as an additional judge of the High Court at Calcutta in 2017 and was appointed as a permanent judge in 2019. Please join your hands in welcoming my Lord for this occasion. I request our convener, CA Anup Kumar Bankaji, to please welcome Sir with a shawl, memento, and a bouquet. Thank you, my Lord. Thank you, Anup ji. Our guest of honor today is Shri Anil Kumar Gupta ji, IRS Chief Commissioner of CGST and CX. Next. Sir's profile will be displayed on the LED screen. Shri Gupta is a fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and a life member of the Indian Institute of Public Administration. Sir is an officer of the Indian Revenue Service, Customs and Central Excise, 1989 batch. In his stint with the government, he has had a vast experience of more than 30 years in tax administration, especially indirect taxes such as central excise, service tax, customs, and GST. Sir is also a master trainer in GST and is an acting faculty at NASIN. Sir has also been a member of the GST Law Committee. He has also authored the book Handbook on GST Audit by Tax Authorities, published by Bloomsbury in August 2020. Sir has been ushered with various awards all throughout his career. In appreciation of his work during posting at the DRI, the government awarded the President's Award for rendering exceptionally meritorious service at the risk of life on the occasion of Republic Day 2003. The CMA Ratan Award 2016 was also conferred to Sir by the Institute of Cost Accountants of India. Please welcome Sir with a big round of applause. I will request CA PD Rungta ji and CA Kamal Nayan Jain ji to please come up and offer a bouquet, memento, and a shawl in welcoming Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Rungta ji and Kamal ji. Our special guest, C.S. Sushil Goyal ji, could not make it today because he has had to go to Delhi for an important meeting with Government of India. He has sent his message. We will play the message after some time. I will now request our convener, C.A. Anup Kumar Banka ji, to please give his welcome address.
Respected Chief Guest of the Conclave, Honorable Justice Shekhar B. Sharaf, Sir, Judge, Calcutta High Court, Guest of Honor, Mr. Anil Kumar Gupta, Chief Commissioner of GST and CX, distinguished guests, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all of you on this momentous occasion of GST Conclave 2023 with the theme Decoding the Future, Compliance, Enforcement and Litigation. I stand before you today with immense pride and privilege as we gather here in presence of our revered chief guest, the Honorable Mr. Justice Shekhar B. Sharaf, Judge, Calcutta High Court, Guest of Honor, Mr. Anil Kumar Gupta, Chief Commissioner of GST and CX. Sir, we are extremely grateful to have you all here with us today, and I also express my deep sense of gratitude to you for gracing us with your presence, sir. We are privileged to have the opportunity to learn from your wisdom and experience. It is an honor to have such a distinguished gathering of experts, professionals, and stakeholders from the realm of taxation and commerce. Your presence here today truly reflects your commitment and dedication to understanding and shaping the future of goods and service tax system in our great nation. GST, as we all know, is a comprehensive indirect tax levy that encompasses manufacturing, sale, and consumption of goods and services at national level. This transformative tax system has been instrumental in unifying India into one common market. It is designed to provide India with a world-class tax structure and enhance the efficiency of tax collection. The conclave will address issues of trade and industries and will provide a platform for interaction among industry, experts, and government officials. As we delve deeper into the intricacies of GST during this conclave, we aim to decode the future of this system, focusing especially on compliance, enforcement, and litigation. We recognize the importance of these aspects in ensuring the effectiveness of and smooth functioning of the GST. By addressing these critical areas, we can further streamline the tax regime, foster compliance, and strengthen the enforcement mechanism. The implementation of GST involves a collaborative effort between the central and state government with the valuable inputs and recommendations from the GST Council. Together, it strives to create a transparent and accountable framework that benefits business, taxpayers, and the economy as a whole. Throughout this conclave, we have curated an insightful agenda featuring distinguished speakers, thought-provoking discussions, and interactive sessions. We believe that by exchanging knowledge, experiences, and best practices, we can collectively chart a path toward a more robust and sustainable GST system. On behalf of ACAI Chartered Accountant CP Study Circle of EIRC, I extend my deepest gratitude to each one of you for gracing us with your presence today. Your expertise, insights, and contributions are invaluable, and we are privileged to have you as part of this conclave. Together, let us embark on this enriching journey of decoding the future of GST with a focus on compliance, enforcement, and litigation. Once again, a warm welcome to all of you, and I wish a productive and rewarding experience at the GST Conclave 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Banka. We have a recorded message of our special guest, C.A. Sushil Kumar Goyal ji. He has sent it us from Delhi. We will run the message. This is his profile. We will skip the profile, the message. Okay, by the time they make the message ready, let me take this opportunity to introduce the theme of the conclave today. The theme of today's conclave is decoding the future of GST, compliance, enforcement, and litigation. One may ask us as to why are we already discussing the future of GST when it is only 6 years since it was launched. It is a very new law. I would like to remind the august gathering here that the slogan for GST is one nation, one tax, one market. Hence, when we discuss the future of GST, we are not only discussing about the future of taxation in the country, but we are also discussing about the future of a nation and its citizens. We have seen that the gross GST revenue collection in the month of May 2023 crossed rupees 1.5 lakh crore, registering a rise of 12% on a year-on-year basis. With this, the monthly GST revenue that has come in is more than 1.4 lakh crore for the 14th consecutive month. Increased collection means more resources for the government and better services for the citizens. In today's conclave, we will be discussing GST with respect to the three pillars of compliance, enforcement and litigation. This is similar to the three pillars of our constitution, which are legislature, executive and the judiciary. If we draw an analogy, then compliance is enacted through acts, rules, etc. by the legislature, enforcement is undertaken by the executive, and litigation is of course the forte of the judiciary. Let me inform the House of some facts and statistics on all these three parameters. First is compliance. Compliance under GST has increased manifold if we compare it to the erstwhile laws. For example, registration itself has increased from around 66.5 lakhs in 2017 to more than 1.4 crore assessees in 2022, an increase of more than double in the last 5 to 6 years. Compliance rates for filing of GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B returns, the two basic returns, have crossed more than 90% consistently on a month-to-month basis. Thus, overall compliance under GST has increased, and we all will agree with this. However, the compliance cost for businesses has also increased under GST, which is a matter of concern and discussion. Enforcement activities. We have also seen a rise in the enforcement activities of the department and its agencies in the recent past. As per a recent discussion, our Honorable Dr. Amit Mitra had mentioned that the fraud reported by central agencies totals to more than 1.25 lakh crores. And if the state figures are also taken into account, that figure could cross 2 lakh crores, which is a big number. There is, however, no official estimate for that. The CBIC chief, Mr. Johari, recently said that CBIC had undertaken about 30,000 GST audits in 2022-23 pertaining to financial years 21 and 22 at the central level. They detected tax evasion worth rupees 17,000 crores. Further, the authority targets to audit 50,000 cases based on various risk parameters for the financial year 23-24. Audits will thus increase by more than 2/3 at the central level. The CBIC chief also said about the recently launched 2-month special drive on 15th of May to check fake registrations, and that they had shortlisted 30,000 cases for physical verification, out of which so far 35% or over 10,000 cases have been found to be allegedly involved in generating fake registration to claim bogus input tax credit so far. The department has detected about 7,000 crores of bogus ITC during the drive. Please note that these figures do not mention anything about the state's initiatives, so the numbers may increase. Thus, with the increase in overall fraudulent activities under GST by some unscrupulous persons, enforcement activities are bound to increase. Litigation has also increased in GST, and the Honorable High Courts, my Lord may note, the Honorable High Courts are flooded with cases with respect to GST. And one of the main reasons for this is the absence of GST tribunals. However, we are hopeful that GST tribunals will see the light of the day in the near future. In fact, there is no official figure available as to the number of cases filed in the various high courts under GST. We sincerely hope that today's conclave will discuss the various issues with respect to compliance, enforcement and litigation, and the deliberations of our dignitaries in this session will set the context for the day. Thank you. We will now, message is ready? We will now play the message of our Indirect Tax Committee Chairman, C.A. Sushil Goyal ji.
Good morning, dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. To this GST conclave organized by ACE, I want to congratulate the entire team of ACE. They worked very hard to bring this GST conclave alive. They have invited all type of dignitaries, chartered accountants, department officers and advocates for this GST conclave on the topic that is compliance, enforcement and litigation. When there is less compliance, enforcement bound to increase, and if enforcement increases, then litigation is definitely increase in number of faults. I congratulate all the participants also, those who decided and physically present here. This conclave going to add values in their professional assignments, and as well as this will help the businessmen though who are attending this GST conclave. Good number of seminar, conferences and conclaves are required because GST has completed 6 years of its existence. During this period, number of things has been changed. So we must learn all these things and comply it properly. So enforcement reduces and ultimately the litigations reduces. So with this, I also want to share the initiative taken by the ICAI GST committee. GST committee is delivering the profession as well as the country this slogan, that is partner in nation building, is delivered by us in all forms by way of conducting seminar, conferences, certificate courses and the publications on GST. Recently we came out with the Bear Act on GST, and as well as in the April 2023 we also released the background material, the 11th edition of the background material, the premier publications of GST committee of ICAI. So once again, wishing all the best for this conference and wishing all of you happy learning time. Thank you very much.
We thank Sushil Goyal ji, who has taken out time from his busy schedule and recorded and sent this message. Thank you so much. I will now request our guest of honor, Shri Anil Kumar Gupta ji, IRS Chief Commissioner, to please address the House. Thank you.
The Honorable Justice Shekhar B. Sharaf, Judge of Calcutta High Court, Chief Guest of today's ceremony, dignitaries on the dais, Shri Ashish Chandan, Principal Commissioner GST North, who will be taking one of the technical sessions, professional colleagues, chartered accountants, students, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed my privilege to be part of this GST conclave with a very apt theme, decoding the future of the GST, compliance, litigation and enforcement. First of all, I must congratulate the entire team of ACE Chartered Accountants, CPE Study Circle of Eastern Region of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India for organizing this conclave on this theme. As you all know that will be completing 6 years of GST introduction on 1st of July 2023. When the GST was introduced way back on 1st July of 2017, there were a lot of apprehensions whether how will be the ride, whether we'll have a smooth sail. And because worldwide the experience of introduction of this kind of reform was not very charming or grateful, and especially keeping in view that we have a federal structure, 29 states, center, all in the pre-GST era, as you all know, having their own taxation systems of taxing sales, supplies, manufacture, services, and so many laws, bringing all them together, building the tax structure. And all of you are witness that it took more than a decade to reach at a consensus to finally launch this mega or one of the biggest reforms in the indirect taxes in the history of India post-independence. But if we look back, we had many ups and downs in the initial years of 2-3 years of GST implementation. But today, after 6 years, we can take pride and say with satisfaction that by and large, this taxation system under GST has stabilized and has benefited all the stakeholders, whether it's government, central or state, whether it's taxpayers, consumers, professionals, tax consultants, advocates, everybody. The end result is that all of us have benefited from these mega reforms. Now, I will not go into the details of what all we have achieved. Just to briefly touch what I see the biggest gain which our manufacturers, retailers, wholesalers, and everybody involved in the supply chain has got is that now we have a uniform single rate for on a particular supply of goods or services throughout India. State borders, which was a big bottleneck for transporting the goods across the countries, are no more there, leading to seamless transportation of the goods throughout the country, and as a result benefiting everyone in terms of reduced cost of transportation as well as time lag. Logistics and warehousing scenario has changed in the country. As you all know, that in the pre-GST era, larger companies used to have warehouses for stocks transfer. That is not required now. So a lot of changes have taken place, benefiting everyone. But there are still a lot of challenges which are yet to be covered. We have covered a lot of ground during the last 6 years, as you know. And another very unique way of implementing the GST has been that from the initial years itself, both the states and the center have been working together through the GST Council mechanism, as you all know. And the government has been very adaptive and have been very responsive in introducing changes in the law or procedures as and when required, keeping in view the difficulties or teething problems faced by the taxpayers, consultants, advisors. So, that's why in the first 2 years, if we see, there were a lot of changes taking place, and it was for many of us very difficult to keep track of the changes happening at that speed in the procedures, laws, rates, etc. But during the last 3-4 years, now we see those frequent changes have reduced, and by and large, we have a system, our IT platform, which was a big challenge during the initial years, facing a lot of glitches. And some would say, perhaps in retrospective, if we think that we introduced the GST before preparing fully ourselves for the system to be launched. But sometimes, as it happens, that some changes or reforms have to be done, and because you cannot have a very perfect and seamless system before launching, many issues, challenges we come to know as we grow and deal with the subject. Now, if you see, there were a lot of discussions in the initial years, also because revenue as expected was not keeping the pace, especially in the first 2 years or so. We were averaging about 90,000 to 1 lakh crore per month. But over the years, gradually, then we faced the COVID in between for 2 years. And the economy was hit, as you all know. But gradually over the years now, the revenues have boosted, increased, and as you all know, last year we clocked with collected revenue of 18 lakhs, averaging about 1.5 lakh crore. And for last few months, we have been consistently hitting this score of 1.4 or 1.5 lakh crore per month. And in fact, April was the highest revenue. April 23 was one of the highest revenue collecting month, where we collected about 1.75 lakh crores in April. And wherever we see, whether in terms of tax base, as Mr. Tarun Gupta has spoken, tax base has widened and almost doubled in the last 6 years, bringing many new persons engaged in the chain of supply in the tax net from about 60 lakhs to 1.4 crore. And during this journey, we, in order to ensure compliance and having a fine balance between compliance and enforcement during the initial years, as you all know, we were more in a hand-holding mode. We are trying to sell this idea of GST to our taxpayers, to all our stakeholders, because as you know, in any change, there is a lot of resistance in the initial stages. So all these Institute of Chartered Accountant, Institute of Cost Accountant, many other institutes, all were partner in this process of selling this idea of GST so that it is adopted and there are no difficulties in the smooth sailing of this idea, reform. So that is why initially, as you also know, we had a lot of difficulties in the original concept of return, which was envisaged, return filing of GSTR 1, 2, 3, and finally we switched over to GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B. And over the years, there have been modifications in the return filing module also. And as has been mentioned earlier also, that over the years and over every month, now consistently the compliance in GST return filing has improved a lot and is touching around 90%, whereas about 3 years back it was ranging about 70%. And in order to check the balance, recently we have also made certain changes in the sense that sequential filing of GSTR 1 has been introduced, and plus in order to ensure that some persons who are tweaking the system, or we could call it unscrupulous persons who are trying to take undue advantage of the liberal mechanism of GST, we have also recently done that if you have not filed your 2 GSTR 3B returns, then you cannot file GSTR 1. So these are time-based, need-based changes which we keep so that we strike a fine balance between compliance and enforcement, and ensuring at the end that our genuine, fair taxpayers don't have the difficulty or don't face the difficulty in the sense that they don't fall into the trap that somebody has issued an invoice who is not genuine, non-existence, and the liability comes on them. So that way, keeping in view all these things, we have been making reforms from time to time. Similarly, if we talk of GST registration, I think in the initial years it was one of the easiest, I would say, scheme or method designed that you can take registration without any hassles, and if your registration is not processed in specified time of 3 days, you get a deemed registration. But as we noticed that some unscrupulous, fraudulent people are gaming with the system, misusing this scheme or facility, which was basically intended for larger, genuine taxpayers, because from the very beginning, the architect of the GST has been such that it is trust-based. We are reposing a lot of trust on our taxpayers, and the entire mechanism is IT-driven on a GSTN platform where the interaction with the taxpayers and other stakeholders is through a network and involving very little or no physical interaction between the tax administrators and taxpayers. So all these, when we saw that some people are gaming with the system, misusing it by taking fraudulent registrations, then issuing fake invoices, passing on the credit, etc., then we have tightened a bit the registration process, making it Aadhaar based, Aadhaar linked, Aadhaar authentication, and introducing that if you're not Aadhaar based, involving rigorous verification, even physical verification if needed, and also increasing the timeline for processing these registrations from 3 days to 7 days if it is Aadhaar based, and if it is non-Aadhaar based from 21 days to 30 days. So all these reforms and changes have been taking place, keeping in view the need and also keeping in view that we have to strike a fine balance between ensuring compliance and regulation and trade facilitation, because the better the compliance is, the lesser would be the enforcement. But if we are failing in compliance somewhere, then the enforcement angle would come into picture. Then you also see that over the years, we have been making a system like e-invoicing also. If you see, gradually we are bringing more people, taxpayers in the net where they generate e-invoice. Now it will be 5 crore and above. Earlier it started with 100 crores. So all these reforms and changes which are taking place in GST are keeping in view and mind the requirements, the needs of the taxpayers and our other stakeholders like professional institutes of chartered accountants or cost accountants or company secretary and other advocates, fraternity, everybody keeping in mind. Now, as one of the speakers, Mr. Tarun Gupta, was also mentioning that recently, especially in last few months, or I would say last 2 years or so, we have been hearing a lot about fake registration, fake invoicing, passing of the non-available ITC by the unscrupulous people, and during the last 2 years or so, the department is seized of this problem or challenge and has been trying to deal with it through data analytics, machine learning, AI, data mining, on the basis of various risk parameters, identifying the risky taxpayers or the probable GSTNs who could be fake, and have been targeting them in a very systematic way. And as a part of that drive, the department has also launched a special drive to check and verify all these suspected GSTNs. From 15th of May, we have identified about 30,000 GSTN and the drive is on. And we are finding that a large number of them, these identified GSTINs, are fake or bogus, somewhere ranging from 60 to 70% of the identified taxpayers. These suspected GSTNs are turning out to be fake. Or bogus. So now this all, this enforcement drive or when we come to know of this magnitude of a problem, it's somewhere, I would say that leads to a situation where the government is forced to think of taking some measures to check this menace of fake registration. And in fact, I would say all you professionals have a very, very vast and very important, significant role in this exercise and scheme of things, because many of you are practicing chartered accountant who will be advising, counseling, maybe even defending them on behalf of these taxpayers. So as a responsible professionals, you also have a role to play so that we all together are able to check this menace and minimize. Because ultimately, otherwise, if somebody has gamed with the system, he would vanish. And ultimately, the person who has taken the credit, a liability would come on that person. And by the time he knows, the magnitude of the liability may be so high that he is not able to meet. So that leads to unnecessary, unwarranted disruption in the economy. Recently we have also, all of you are also aware about a Noida case where all these unscrupulous people are playing with the PANs, Aadhaar numbers, other details, changing, modifying their identities and creating then certain identities. And this problem of forgery or misusing the PANs, Aadhaars, electricity bills or other addresses, etc., it is not limited to GST only. GST is one, but otherwise it's a bigger problem for the economy because you are using somebody's identity, you are committing offenses under other laws also. It may be used for money laundering. So many. It's a very intricate issue. Not limited to only GST. GST could be one of the motive for creating such identities. Another way of ensuring this compliance as well as enforcement is because this entire GST architect is based on self-assessment, self-compliance through the GSTN portal, starting from registration to filing of return, payment, etc. Everything is on that. So the law has envisaged a mechanism of audit. Because audit is the systematic scientific way of ensuring the compliance of the GST law, as well as it is a tool, I would say it is a big tool to educate the taxpayers and all the stakeholders if they have committed any mistake, procedural or otherwise, leading to any non-payment of due tax or some other compliances. So it is detected in a collaborative way through audits, systematic audits. Because audit mechanism is a very transparent system of dealing with the taxpayers, where due intimation is given to the taxpayers. Certain information, documents, and returns are already available on the portal, which are mapped to the audit officers. Then certain additional information, if he requires, he can call for that. And on the basis of that, he prepares a desk review or an audit plan, and then audit is executed. And as you know, most of the audits are done desk based, which means they don't require any physical visit to the premises of the taxpayers. And by and large, in the COVID period, we have been conducting desk audits to a large extent, and very few cases a visit to the especially large or medium taxpayers, a visit is required to the premises of the taxpayers. And then you are also told about whatever objections or issues are there, and you are given an opportunity to give your viewpoint on that, and then the audit is finalized and settled, either by way of you pay up whatever is, if you agree with the audit objections. So this is a very systematic scheme envisaged in the law for ensuring compliance of GST law. And audit is not new. In fact, audit, all you are professionals, you are already well aware with the audit mechanism. It is there in every stream of business. Auditing, whether you do internal audit, statutory audit, tax audit, so many. So it is even for the owners, because there is a separation of management and owners. So even for the owners, it's a tool to ensure that his business is run in a professional way and there are no leakages in the system. With these words, I again thanks all the organizers of this conclave, and I am sure that the deliberations during the various technical sessions which are planned during the day would certainly benefit all the stakeholders, members, and I wish success to this GST conclave. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening speech. Some very important messages sir has told all of us. One important message that I feel is that obviously compliance rates have increased, revenue collections are increasing, but alongside the unscrupulous activities of bogus ITC, fake registrations, they are also increasing, and for that reason the department is doing their regular drives and all, and there are results that are coming out from such drives. So that is something that is very important to note. Second is that the modus operandi of these operators is they use fake PAN cards, Aadhaar cards, and they use forged documents to get registrations and all. So that is something that should not be done, and we should never share our OTPs and EVCs and all. That is a very genuine concern. And third, I think, is audit, because sir, I will tell you, in one of the cases that I was handling, one audit officer told me that it is not only our responsibility to do audit, it is also the duty of the assessee to get audited. So it is a both side, the responsibility and the duty goes together. So that is a very important message that I learned that day. and which sir has also said, that audit is a very transparent process in which the documents which are asked and which are generally done desk based, then audit memos are issued and the option is given to the assessee to either pay or he can take it up later. So these were some important messages that we got, sir, from your speech. Thank you so much. In between, I will just do two customary things. One is we recognize the presence of past chairmen of our EIRC of ICAI, CA Kamal Nayan Jain ji, who is a past chairman. We also recognize the presence of CA PD Rungta ji, past chairman and president of our association ACAE, and also Nitesh Morji, past chairman. If I am missing anyone, please tell me. No, thank you. And I would also request all of you to please rise for 1 minute silence, because yesterday our past council member ICAI, CA Dr. Bhaskar Banerjee, he left for the heavenly abode. So I will request all of you for a 1 minute silence, please. Thank you. I will now request our chief guest, Honorable Justice Shekhar B. Saraf, Judge, Calcutta High Court, to please give his inaugural address.
At the very outset, can everybody hear me at the back? Then you have to suffer also. Okay. At the very outset, I have to thank the organizers for having invited me. It's a great honor for me. And the jobs of the earlier speakers, Mr. Gupta and Chief Commissioner Anil Kumar Gupta ji, has made it very easy for me, because they have spoken everything that is to be spoken. So I had a long speech prepared. Of course, I did not prepare it. One of the upcoming juniors, not a junior now, he's quite a senior person, Mr. Saurav Bagadia, who's an advocate, I had requested him to prepare the speech and give it to me. So he worked painstakingly and on a war footing and gave me the first draft. Then I looked at it. I said, no, you need to expand this a little more. Then again diligently he worked and then reverted again within 2 days, and then the speech was ready. Now I've realized that maybe the first draft was better because the speech is too long. So I shall completely omit the draft. I don't know whether he's here in the crowd today. Is he? Okay. So the first thing that I noticed when I came today over here, and that is so gladdening to see, is the number of ladies that are here in the conclave. Mr. Gupta omitted to tell you people that after passing out of National Law School, I worked with with one of the big fours, Arthur Anderson, for 1.5 years. And at that time, the number of chartered accountants who were there in the audit and in the taxation were not even, I think, 1 or 2%. And today we see almost, I think, 25 to 30% or maybe more are ladies who are here, which is really heartening and shows, and in fact, it is, I feel, the ladies who will come up with all the ideas at the end of the day. Now, what is the purpose of this conclave? The purpose of this conclave is to discuss on the implementation, enforcement, compliance, litigation aspects, and the panelists will throw up issues. Now, it is very important that each member who is here, all the distinguished members, ideate on this and come up with solutions. Just throwing up the issues is not good enough. And I'm sure that if each member applies his mind on the issues that are raised, solutions will come out. And these are the solutions that are required to be maybe in a form of a white paper sent to Chief Commissioner first. Then, of course, through your channels to Delhi so that the legislature can look into it. Because as we see in the past 6 years, there have been several changes which the legislature has made. If one were to look into the kind of litigation that I have seen that has come into the High Court, when the GST started, the teething problems were of compliance, of the failing of the portal system, transitional credit not being given, and things like that. Those by and large were sorted out by the High Courts. And High Courts, I think, were mostly lenient and allowed the assessees to, upload their data, etc., and allowed the transitional credit also. Now, of course, there are several issues which are pending, constitutional issues before the High Courts that have to be decided, which, you see, the problem of there not being a tribunal, what happens is all the day-to-day matters come to the High Court, which are motion matters, and which then have to be sorted out first, which does not give the High Court the time to look into the constitutional matters of importance. That is why I think there is a great need for the entire chartered accountant establishment to press for a tribunal to come into place. There are two important factors, I think, advantages of a tribunal. That is, one, you will have specialized members sitting there. Number two, the tribunal can look into all of these day-to-day, e-way bill, transport, the general matters that come up and sort it out immediately. These kind of matters don't need to come to the High Court. Then the High Court, you see, the High Court also is limited. We also have limited number of judges. There's only one tax bench today, the single judge, and then there is one tax bench, which is the division bench. So it depends on the speed of the judge. Each judge may not be very fast. He may be going in a particular speed. So a lot of matters get collected, and the important constitutional matters are not sorted out. Therefore, it is important that we urge the government of the day to ensure that the tribunal comes into play. Because 6 years have passed now. There's a limit. 6 years you don't have the tribunal. I mean, that should be there. There is one case I wanted to discuss, which I took up when I was taking the tax roster, which was with regard to section 83. I think that is attachment of, yes. The issue before me was that whether the authorities can keep on attaching. You attach for 1 year, then can you attach this another year, then another year? Because 5 years is given in case of suppression for coming out with a show cause notice. Now, when this matter came up before me, I found it to be so unfair that an assessee who is caught, who is not able to, because without the show cause, he is not able to proceed, he is not able to put up a defense, and his properties are attached. 1 year, ठीक, I understand. Then second, then third. Unfortunately, the law is such, that I had to actually go with the government on this and say that no, second attachment is possible in law. And now the Supreme Court has also looked into the same section 83, I don't remember the name of the case, and has held that yes, you can attach again, but you have to give specific different reasons for the same. You cannot keep on giving the first time the reason you gave it the first time, because unless what is the development has to be shown. So this law I felt was unfair, but I still had to go with the law. We judges are constrained by that, because we have to go with the spirit and the letter of the law. But you are not constrained. You can make representations to the governments to make changes in these kind of laws that are too strict maybe. One does understand that when there are cases of fake invoices, etc., one has to take a strict stand. And these kind of perpetrators have to be caught and punished. There is no doubt about that. I don't think I have anything more to say because everything has been covered by the ken of knowledge of Mr. Gupta. He has spoken. Anything else I say will be a reiteration of the same. I would like to end by remembering Chanakya's words in Arthashastra, where he said that the government should collect taxes like a honeybee. A honeybee only takes that much from a flower that is required and not more. It does not harm the flower. That is how the government should act. And so that is how we expect the government to act. And of course, ensure that in case of perpetrators, catch them, improve the enforcement, because there is definitely, for various reasons, enforcement is lacking. We find that in not just GST, we find that in all areas. And again, lastly, I would like to emphasize the need for each member here to ideate on the issues that come up in the conclave and come up with ideas and come up with solutions. And this institution should create a white paper and provide these solutions to the government so that we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, my lord, for your words of wisdom. We will surely ideate today, and I am sure the speakers of the day will throw up ideas and solutions also, and we will come up with a white paper and make representations on issues that are raised today and place it before Chief Commissioner sir, Principal Commissioner sir. Thank you so much for the guidance, sir. We also recognize the presence of departmental officers in today's conclave. Joint Commissioner Saxena ji is here, sir is here, and other departmental officers. Thank you for coming, sirs. Sir, for today's conclave, we have prepared one special issue of a journal, which we would want my lord to release today. And I will request our young members, CA Siddhant Jajodia, to please come up. Siddhant has been working day in and day out on this journal and has ensured that it sees the light of the day. Siddhant, please come. The journal has been prepared. It has very good articles. 18 articles are there. Thank you, my lord. Thank you, sirs, for releasing the brochure. We will be sharing the soft copy of the journal with all our participants because we have limited hard copies. It will be shared with all of you in the various groups and sent to you. It will also be uploaded on the website of the ACAE, from where you can download this journal. I will now request our Deputy Convener, CA Vikas Bankaji, to please come up and propose a formal vote of thanks for the inaugural session.
I feel honored to get the privilege to propose a hearty vote of thanks on this special occasion. Thank you, Tarun Gupta ji, for giving me this opportunity on behalf of ACAE Chartered Accountant CP Study Circle of EIRC. At the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Honorable Justice Shekhar B. Sraf, Judge of Calcutta High Court, for gracing us with his presence despite his busy schedule. Sir, we are truly honored to have you among us today, and your presence has added great value to this program. I request all the delegates to join me in acknowledging and thanking His Lordship for his gracious presence. At this juncture, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our guest of honor, Sri Anil Kumar Gupta ji, IRS Chief Commissioner of CGST and Central Excise. Sir, we are deeply grateful and thankful for your presence and for sharing your invaluable knowledge with us during today's seminar. Thank you, sir, for being with us. Furthermore, I would like to express my gratitude to our special guest, CA Sushil Kumar Goyal ji, Chairman, GST and Indirect Tax Committee, ICAI, in his absentia, for gracing us with his presence through video conference and delivering a thought-provoking address to our esteemed audience. My words are not enough to express my heartfelt thanks to you for your constant support and kind words. Thank you, Sushil ji, on his absentia. I, on behalf of our organizing committee, would like to express my gratitude and convey deep regards once again to all the dignitaries present on and off the dais for making this conclave a successful. We'll remain grateful to all of you. Thank you for being with us today. Before we conclude, let us take a group photograph to commemorate this memorable occasion. Please.
Is it done? Thank you so much. With this, we end the inaugural session. This will follow with the first technical session. Please be seated. Thank you.